Thank you so much, ladies and gents. We will now go to the team announcement for the game against the Emirate Lions.
Yes.
Thanks very much, Ed. Really appreciate your time. Just to run through the team for those who haven't seen it or not. We've got backline 15 to 9, Wandisile Simelane, Cornel Hendricks, Lionel Mapu, David Creel, Spoon Kosi, Chris Smith, and Ambrose Papi. And then the forwards 8 to 1, Mihlali Mosi, Ruan Vermaak, Marcel Kutsia, who's our captain, Ruan Nokia, Walt Steenkamp, Mornay Smith, Johan Grobela, and Gerard Steenekamp. And then our bench, Jan Hendrik Wessels, Dylan Smith, Francois Klopper, Janko Swanepoel, Marco van Staden, Zach Berger, Mornay Steyn, and Stedman Gans. We'll head straight to questions. We'll start with Sbu and then go to Jan. Sbu.
Hi, morning, Coach Jake. Congrats on your contract extension. My question is the obvious, Wandisile Simelane at fullback selection. Is that where you see his future? We have seen you kind of dabble with players in the past in terms of positions. I remember Spura Sitole at 13 at the Sharks before, as well as Lwazim Volvo at 15. Is this where you see Wandi's future?
Yeah, look, I think not just him, Sabu. I think what's important is the way the game's going now, and the way I'd like to coach is I'd like players to be interchangeable. You know, you look at the All Blacks play the other day. I think it was yesterday. Was it yesterday they played? Yeah, yesterday. I mean, you have Beauden Barrett, Geordie Barrett, and Mo'unga running, you know, in different positions in different plays in the game. And so, yeah. So for me, it's not just about where he is or the number on your back. I think for me, it's about interchanging those players. I mean, Wandisile, you know, is a gifted footballer. I mean, I think he got a football scholarship or a contract to go to Kaizer Chiefs when he was a schoolboy. So he's got some footballing skills in terms of feel and the way he kicks as well. I mean, he's got some good timing on his kicks as well. The other thing is, you know, you got a guy like Lukhanyo on playing 13 for South Africa, is probably one of the best players in the world. So a guy like Simelane, if he wants to have ambitions of playing for the Boks, got to try and be a little bit more versatile. So we start him there. You know, he's trained really well, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he does. You know, I think I've got no doubt that what he's going to offer in certain things he does really well is going to be exciting.
Jan.
Thank you, Chumani.
Sorry, Jan, you went on mute.
Jan?
Yeah, thank you. Apologies. Thanks, Jake. I think congratulations in order. I think my question is a bit more game related. I mean, you ended at the URC with a close loss, and you're now starting a new season. You know, how much has changed, and what do we expect from the Bulls this season, and what do you think they need to change to take that one step further?
Oh, look, I mean, obviously we're still hurting about that loss. Yeah, I can't, but I mean, the reality is that's what happens when you compete at the highest level. You know, margins are very small. But it's a new season. We've got some new players. We've got some stability, which I'm also happy about. I mean, you look at that tight five. That tight five's probably played a fair amount of URC games together already. You know, backline, although I've swapped them around, they've basically understand each other. And I just think our game's going to change a little bit. You know, not too far away from what worked, but we've had to improve on certain areas of our game. So yeah, we're gonna obviously trial that. It's it almost feels like yesterday that we finished the season, but we've had a good preseason. You know, some new ideas, some new discussions about what we can add to our game, and it's going to be difficult to do everything in one fixture. We're going to have to grow as we go along the competition. I think the one thing that did come out last year is we lost 5 of our first 6 games through the nature of the way the comp was, and we had to really play well in the back end of the competition to get into the playoffs. So there's a new comp. We get a chance to start again with a bit of a preseason, and I'm hoping that you know, we can play good rugby again. I think that's the important thing. I think we play our best rugby with this group of players when we're going to get better and better, and if we get better, we're going to be tough to beat.
Morgan P.
Thanks, Shimoni. Morning, Jake. Jake, Mihlali Mosi, an incredibly humble player, gifted rugby player, a special kind of player. What do you see in him, and how do you see him develop as a Bulls player going forward?
Yeah, look, I must say, Morgan, I mean, he's obviously a Muir College boy. I've chatted to him about it. He's got great feel. You know, I just think he's got such great touches. He runs good lines. You know, he's not small in terms of line out options. He can obviously help either lifting or jumping in the lineouts, which obviously adds a little bit more to our back row as well. Yeah, and I'm just hoping putting him in amongst, kind of players he's playing with now. I'm talking about Ruan Okier's a Springbok, Marcel's a Springbok. Grobby's been close to the Springbok team. I'm hoping that, that he learns a little bit from them and it ups his game a bit. I think there's no doubt that, chatting to Gio Aplon this week, one of the things that improves players is the kind of players you train against and the kind of players you train with. And, I've seen an incredible improvement in the last 6 weeks, just in terms of, his understanding, just in terms of his confidence. He's walking around with his chest out a little bit now. He's been picked in the starting lineup. And I'm looking forward to him. I've got no doubt that what he offers, and that is his unbelievable feel of running into holes and understanding where he's got to be in support lines. I'm hoping that'll be one of his strengths tomorrow.
Ash?
Jake, firstly, how far is Johan Goosen from playing? And then secondly, Sabun Kosi, how's he looking his first Bulls game?
Yeah, so the question is almost there. I think one of the things that we're very mindful of, Ashfaq, is I sat him down a long time ago, and my job for him is to try and get him back into the national setup. And I don't want to rush things. I'm worked back from November. November, there's an end of year tour. I think they're taking an extended group of players, 45 players or something. I've heard the number, with a couple of SAA guys as well. So if I work back from November, I've got to make sure that he's ready in November to be able to play Test rugby. And so to answer your question, Ashfaq, it will be soon, but I'm not going to rush it. I'm not going to, it doesn't mean because it's, the first game of the URC, I've got to get him out there, or because it's the first home game next week, or whatever the story is. I want to make sure that he's comfortable and he's mentally ready to get on the field and play. Typically, like all youngsters, he wants to play, and he wants to be on the field all the time. And I've just probably got a little bit of, I suppose, experience to know that, we need to make sure that he's ready for Test rugby, because at the end of the day, that's what he wants. He wants to be back in the national setup, and my job is to help him get there. There's a long season, with the European Cup and going all the way in January, with home and away fixtures. I don't want to say he's not available yet, Ashfaq, because it's not the truth. I just want to make sure that him and I are ready for him to get on the field. That as soon as I feel he's, that we both feel it's the right time, I'll pick him. And then Sabu, I mean, gee, guys, I can tell you, he can play rugby. He's tough. He's won a World Cup. He's got something. I'm excited to see how he does. I genuinely am excited to see how he does. He's been out for a while. I think he's got a little bit of a burning desire inside him to get back into the national setup. I think he's got a burning desire to prove to his teammates, why he's come to the Bulls. And as I said, I like that. I like seeing the way that he's been training. I like seeing that look in his eye. And as I said, he's got it. He's got it. Ashfaq. He's got something.
Ken?
Thanks, Kumani. Jake, can you tell us who was not available for this weekend? Obviously, the first game of a season, we're not too sure.
Yeah, Ken, let me say the guys who probably not available is, and again, they will be back in the next couple of weeks, is Jacques du Plessis, Simpiwe, James Verity-Am, Miller Ace, Johan Goosen, and Lizo Gubboka. Yeah, those will probably the guys who are not available for selection. But as I said, some of them within the next week or 2-3 should be available to play. So I'm hoping by the time we get to our away leg of our campaign, which is in a couple of weeks' time, that we'll have everyone available except for Lizo and Verity, and we've got long-term injuries.
JJ?
Hi, Jake. I just wanted to ask you, what's the feeling with Marco van Staden back? It's definitely going to be good seeing him on the field again. And when Johan is ready to play, are you going to be rotating the fly-offs with Mornay or will Morne be just like a mentor for the two young guys?
Yeah. You know, one thing I've learned, JJ, is unfortunately, like in rugby, you can't plan too far ahead. You know, if everyone's fit, then it becomes a problem. But generally how it works is someone, you know, you don't get to keep your 50 players every single week. So, I mean, Morne is an incredible legend of the Bulls. I think one thing that Edgar is and the board are massive of, which I'm also an advocate of, is that we never want to treat our legend players in a way where they feel they're just another number. So he's fully aware. He's got a year left of his contract. His job is to play when I need him. His job is to give it 100% when he's called upon. And I don't know how many times that's going to be. I don't know why. It could be because of injuries. It could be because we want to rotate the squad. But when Goosen's back, I mean, everyone's fully aware. The one interesting thing, JJ, that I find, having coached for a long, long time, is players know when players above them are good players. And you know, there's no doubting that when Goosen comes back, our players respect the fact that he can play rugby, and therefore he's got to get a chance. You know, so I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky in that my players and the players in our organization understand that. They understand their roles. And yeah, and I mean, when he is back and he's ready to play, then he creates pressure for everybody and he creates competition for everybody. And, you know, a guy like Chris Smith, who's played really well, guys. I mean, I'm really happy for him. And, you know, so he knows if he plays well and Goosen comes back, it's not I mean, Goosen can play 12, 13 and 15. So it gives me an opportunity to try different combinations as well, which I said earlier in my interview.
We'll go to Leighton and then wrap it up with Percy.
Thank you, sir. Hello, Jake. Jake, just on Kurtley, if I'm not mistaken, he has been training with you guys. Obviously, his suspension ends tomorrow. Is he going back to the Springboks? Will you be able to pick from him because he's been training with you? Or you getting Kainan back? Will you have both back? Or without both? How's that prospect looking?
Leighton, it's a good question, and I obviously it's not in any fault of anybody. I think the Boks play tomorrow. I think let them get through that. I think the last sort of discussion we had, I'm talking about Bulls to the national team, was they will let us know post arriving back in South Africa which guys they need next week. I think it depends on injuries. It depends on, I suppose, how they do tomorrow as well. You know, if they've got a chance to win, they might keep the same team. They might want to change it. So I don't know whether I've got him or not got him. I do know, however, that he is available to play rugby next Saturday, whether it be for the Springboks or whether it be for the Bulls. And that's why, you know, obviously been keeping himself in the game and keeping himself afresh based on the fact that he doesn't quite know where he'll be involved. But, you know, if he's not there, then maybe Kainan comes back. I don't know if him and Kainan will play together. I know that Cheslin should be there and thereabouts, back from his injury as well. So I don't know. I don't know what back three they'll go with next week. And if it happens that Kainan and Kurtley are back in the mix, well, you know, good luck. I mean, I think that's fantastic for our union and good for those two boys. So, you know, hopefully, who knows? You know, maybe I'll have to find, you know, maybe this backline plays well and we can keep this backline for next week.
And then to wrap it up, Percy.
Thank you so much, sir. Jake, kan ek net vra? Jy het nou deurgaans deur jou perskonferensie, jou vorige perskonferensie en nou in hierdie span aangekondig dat jy is baie gretig om nasionale spelers te kweek nou met jou volgende extension van volgende 5 jaar. Kan ek jou vra egter, ek kyk bijvoorbeeld na die span wat julle vandag kies het, daar's heelwat spelers wat hopelik oor die volgende baie interessante jaar, baie moeilike jaar gaan wil aanspraak maak op die nasionale span. Gaan dit die druk plaas op jou as direkteur dan oor daai kwessie wat jy al 2 jaar praat oor diepte te skep? En ek wil ook sê, Jake, jou collega Gersman was bietjie sensitief oor die einste kwessie omdat julle so besige skedule gaan net wat voorkom. Gaan julle diepte dan nie weer eens getoets word hierdie jaar of in die nuwe seisoen nie?
So first of all, ja, eerstens kom ek stel dit so. Dis deel van my werk en ek is altyd so gewees. Ek dink jy moet nasionale spelers kweek in jou unie. Jy weet, as ek by die Brumbies was, ek het begin met die Brumbies, ek dink was 2 Wallaby spelers daar, en toe ek klaar met die Brumbies was, ek dink was 19 spelers wat vir die Wallabies gespeel het. So deel van jou werk in 'n unie is om die speler 'n kans te gee om groter rugby te speel en nasionale rugby te speel. So daar's nie druk nie, dis deel van my werk en ek geniet dit. Ek geniet om te sien dat Kainan 'n wen 3 druk. Ek geniet om te sien dat Kurtley 'n Springbok word of Elrich is hierdie naweek op die bank. Dis deel van van die lekker dinge van afrigtings om te sien hoe 'n speler ontwikkel en hy speel op die hoogste vlak, jy weet, goeie rugby. So dis nie 'n kwessie van druk nie. En Gert is reg, jy weet, groot unies, as ons nou in Europa gaan speel en ons gaan teen die Toulon speel en ons gaan teen Saracens speel en jy weet dan die volgende naweek Leinster speel in die URC, dan moet jy moet 'n squad hê wat goed genoeg is om al twee daai kompetisies te laat kompeteer. So jy weet, ons gaan nooit, ek dink coaches gaan nooit tevrede wees met die diepte in hulle squad nie, veral vir provinsiale squads. Jy weet, jy wil altyd, nasionale squads is anders dan, omdat jy kan kies van buite af. Maar as jy met jou span begin en jy het jou groep van 52 spelers, is belangrik om hy groep aanhoudend te groei en beter spelers in te bring. En jy weet, vandag sit ek hier so en Marco van Staden is nou op die bank en Monay Steyn is op die bank en jy weet, waar kry jy 'n span waar twee legendes, jy weet, Monay Steyn byvoorbeeld wat 2 Britse Youth series gewen het, hy's op jou bank, jy weet, en jy het nie eens Goosen gekies nie en jy het nie eens Eldrick Louw en Kurtley Arendse en Kainan Moody gekies nie. So jy weet, as ons daai tipe diepte kan kweek by ons, dan is ek vol vertroue hierdie unie gaan groter en groter word. En dis hoekom ek miskien langtermyn geteken het. Die rede is my board dink dieselfde, my CEO dink dieselfde en my president dink dieselfde. So baie lekker plek om te wees in Pretoria op hierdie stadium.
Ladies and gents, thank you very, very much for your time, and a big thanks to you, Coach Jake, and all the best for tomorrow.
Dankie. Cheers. Bye bye.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thanks.